Hi, everyone. This is Sharon Blevins from SharonBlevins.com, your blog of your Cozy Encouragement Corner. And I'm here with Shannon Chamley. And thank you. And she is a senior UX designer, which stands for user experience by day, but at night and lots of other times, she's an entrepreneur. And she's the CEO and founder of Film Fave. So she has a story she's going to share with us tonight that you're going to want to listen to. So tune in here tonight.
You're so wonderful. I love you.
I screwed up. That's okay.
All right, here we are.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm great. How are you doing?
I am really, really good. I'm excited. I'm always excited to see you. You're such a beautiful, wonderful, motivating, happy person, and I need that in my life. I love it.
Well, I think the same way of you, so I appreciate that. Today, we are going to be talking about something near and dear to your heart and my heart, of course, and hopefully to all the other listeners out there. But we have to discuss something called, chronic illness that you're going to talk about a little bit more in detail. But a chronic illness is something that 6 in 10 adults have these days. And 4 in 10 adults have 2 or more of those chronic conditions. And chronic conditions can be like heart disease or cancer, of course, diabetes, things like that. So there's a great deal of chronic illness in the world. And in your case, I know yours are your issues are very serious and impact your life daily. And we'd like to hear a little bit about what those are. And then we're going to talk a little bit about how those affect you in your daily life and all those wonderful things that you're doing. I know that that's sometimes hard for you to handle all that you do and keep that in check. So Shannon, tell us a little bit about what chronic illness you have.
Well, it's kind of like a gamut of things, unfortunately. And it's been an ongoing thing and under an investigation. My mother used to always tell me that they call it a medical practice for a reason, because that's what it is. It's just a medical practice, and pretty much that's kind of what has happened. But it's come down to the point where finally the signs are there's like a check off every single box that I have what's called PMR, and I never can pronounce the word polyrheumatic. It's called PMR for sure. You say it right in your interview.
Yeah.
And then I also have, which PMR is like a lot of soreness in the joints, and unfortunately that comes along with temporal arthritis, or I never say that word.
Arthritis.
Yeah, it's new diagnosed to me, so you have to excuse me. And which also which is also called GCA, which is giant cell, and it's a very scary thing, because PMR, you're not supposed to, apparently you don't usually get PMR naturally until you're in your 70s or 60s. But I have an autoimmune disease. They never could figure out what it was. They just knew it was all the markers. Originally, they thought it was lupus. They thought it was a gamut of things. I ended up with cancer at one point. And then I had diabetes, and then I ended up with cardio neuropathy in my heart. So it just looks like, if you kind of follow the trail, that it all comes down to like this, and being diagnosed with multitude of things. It just hits you in the wrong way. So, but let me tell you exactly what PMR is. PMR, I found out I had PMR, or I had something like that. I thought I had pulled my shoulder, and my left shoulder right here. For years, though, I've had a constant pain in my chest area right here, and somewhere in here, in this chest, in this shoulder. And it's severe enough to make you feel like you have a heart attack, actually. And it's scary. It's very scary. I woke up one day and I just simply moved my arm a little bit and it hurt really, really bad right here. That was, I want to say, July. That was the first time I had a pain. It went away for a little while and then it came back and it's never gone away since. So this pain has been in there for a very long time. So months and months after that, I started having severe headaches right around here. And the headaches would be so bad that I would end up in the emergency room because I thought I was having a stroke. And it was, I mean, I was curled up in a ball crying, and that sometimes I had to lay in positions just to get my head to stop hurting. And those positions would be really weird. They'd be like this, and I'd be down like this, and it was really crazy. So
medication wasn't effective, was it?
No, well, at that time when I got it, I wasn't prescribed any medication just yet. But what ended up happening was, I woke up one morning. I remember vividly. It was January 25th on a Monday, and I woke up, and the day before, I just said to my daughter, "I feel really weird. Like something's really wrong. I'm not in pain. Now I've had the shoulder pain forever." And I said, I have a feeling like I don't feel quite balanced. Like something is just not quite right. So I said, okay, well, what? I just took it easy that night and I went to go lay down early. And I had a massive headache that came in. And I was like, that was when it started. The headache was so very bad and it was pounding right here. And you would immediately think migraines, right? So I kind of thought that, and but I have headaches a lot, but this was rotating around in here, and here, and then in here, and then I woke up at 5 o'clock in the morning on January 25th, and every single tissue in my body was swollen, and I couldn't move. I had lockjaw on my face, so my jaws were locked up. I couldn't close my eyelids; they were swollen. There was a gland behind my ear that got this big, about that big. Overnight this happened. And I couldn't even turn to wake up my husband. I was able to turn and fall off the bed, though. And I was able to get up. From that point, I could get up. But everything, like my whole entire face was just in bad shape. I came back and said, I think I need to go to the emergency room. I was in so much pain. Everything hurt. I couldn't close my hands like that. That's when they, like I said, I had lockjaw, I had a swollen glands, massive headache, and then I went to the emergency room, and that's when they said, well, you have PMR. And apparently PMR is, although it's in the joints and the muscles, temporal arthritis is an infection in your arteries. Apparently, it's kind of like an autoimmune disease that attacks the tissues inside the arteries and the vessels. I'm still learning about it, though. I'm not a doctor, and I have to say that over and over. I am not a doctor, so. So with that, I just kind of. Excuse me. It gets really scary because I thought I was having a stroke. They gave me a CAT scan and they said that I had white matter or something like that up into the temporal arteries, and they were very concerned. And that's when they said, well, you may have GCA, but they didn't want to say it without giving me a biopsy. So that's when he immediately put me on prednisone of he put me up there high. It was like 40 milligrams, and apparently you're not supposed to have that much. And starting out, you're supposed to work your way into it and then work your way off of it for some reason.
I've experienced.
Yeah. And they said something, and then they gave me something called metacloxin. I'm so sorry. These names are so hard to metacloxamine. Anyway, so I had that, and I went home, and something just didn't set right with me because, and I'll let you ask more questions. I'm sorry, I was just trying to tell you the initial story.
Okay.
But my mother ended up with, my mother had, I was thinking back to when my mother got sick, and I remember them saying they thought she had lupus for a long time. And that was, they said she had lupus, then she had diabetes, and then she had all this stuff. And I remember she had this big old box of medication. She was taking like 60 medications a day. And then all of a sudden she had kidney disease. And all I could think about, and you know what, Ashley, it's odd. I brought my prednisone bottle.
Yeah.
and I said, I just said that, and looking it up and doing the research on it, again, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a doctor at all. But
Found a connection.
yeah, I found a connection to what my mother was also having headaches. They told her she had migraines, and they just kept putting her on Furoset, right? So she was very sick for a very long time, and all the time headaches, just like that. So bad she would be in the hospital all the time. So I just kind of linked it all together, and I was like, okay, so how bad is steroids for you? And I said, yeah, it was pretty freaking scary. That's all I gotta say.
Exactly.
It was pretty freaking scary. So I looked it up, and and I accidentally found an article, I think I called you that day, that said that the mortality rate for GCA is 5 years, which means that
Survival rate, yeah.
survival rate is I will only live for 5 years with GCA. And of course that freaked me out, so I called a doctor, and I got online with him, and he said, that is true, but it's more so the steroids that cause the problem. Mm-hmm. So that's when I started connecting the dots with what happened to my mom. So
when did your mother pass away?
She passed away when she was 49 years old, and I want to say, wow, we're going on June 12th of 2004, because I was pregnant with my daughter. So June 12th of 2004. And she was 49 years old, and it was very hard. My sister and I both were taking care of her as much as we could. She was bedridden. And I seriously thought that the prednisone, the steroids, I remember her being on prednisone too, plus a number of other things. So I just decided I'm not going to do that to myself, you know? I wasn't going to do that to myself. Even if it meant that I could still die, I just wasn't going to do that. So I looked into a number of health things, like, okay, so it's an infection in your arteries, right? So there's a number of foods that are anti-inflammatory medications that can, bring down that stuff. And I'm trying to see, can I do that naturally? Because when I found out I had diabetes, I had an A1C of 11. And I don't know if you know, that's not good.
That's not good.
Not good. And in 6 months, I was able to bring it down to a 5.
Oh,
so
wow.
Yeah. So, but I was really focused on eating right and eating healthy and exercising every day. But I wasn't doing anything crazy. I was just walking every single day, getting up and walk, standing at my desk, just doing everything I can, and
not sitting down for a long period of time, right?
Yeah, and as a computer person, that's what I do every day. So that's kind of the story.
Does a standing desk work for you? A standing desk is something that everyone, might take advantage of. Because
so I did.
Sitting is new smoking. It's just terrible for you.
Oh, exactly. So I tried a standing desk, and unfortunately, look, I'll show you. See how big that monitor is?
Yeah, I see.
those standing desks have to be like kind of like like this.
Yes.
And it won't hold them both and come up. So I have to have one of those massive desks that are very, very expensive. So I just here's what I did do though. I have a Fitbit, so these things are great.
Pretty
Shay's saying
motivating for
hi.
people. I know. Yeah.
My friend Shay saying hi. I'm saying hi, Shay. um, so the Fitbit has been amazing. What it does if you, and you have one too, because we would play together, which we need to start doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. It tells you to get up and walk every hour, at least 250 steps if you turn that on. So I let it vibrate and try to remind me. It's not always easy because of my work, but I do get up and walk when I can. So that's helped. That gets me the exercise. But I think the thing that's really helped is routine. So I just have to get into the routine, make it a habit, and then that's been the best thing. That's a crazy story though.
Yeah,
Huh?
it's a crazy story for sure. But I wonder how many people out there have something that they don't know quite what it is. They're searching for an answer. And, my story was like that too. I had Lyme disease that became neurological, and now it's called chronic latent Lyme. So I have flare-ups, and those occur whenever they want to. So I'm getting another shot tomorrow for shingles, my second vaccine. In the first one, I had a reaction, and I had an episode. So I might just have another one. So not looking forward to that, but most of the time those things don't last very long, and thankfully I'm able to do what I need to do. But chronic conditions, one of the things that strikes me as an issue for most people suffering from one is that they're invisible. Yes. People don't realize what you're experiencing, and when you look like you're fine, that's sometimes very deceiving for people, and they may think that it's in your head, or you're not feeling well all the time because you just don't want to do what you need to do. So I know that I feel embarrassed, when I have an episode and I can't walk, and I could walk yesterday, or something like that. So I don't like describing it, telling people a lot about it. I just kind of hide if I can, if I can get away with that. But what is it like for you? What have you experienced so far?
Well, besides that one massive episode that I had, it's funny. It's not funny. It's coincidental that it seems like your flare-ups are a lot like mine. Do you swell up and stuff like that too?
No, I just get very weak, and I get numb. I can't control my leg, and I get Bell's palsy. My face freezes up, and then I can't smile, which is embarrassing. So, when you're in public.
It's actually interesting because right 3 days before that big episode happened, I noticed something in my TikTok videos. It's if you go back to my TikTok on Losing Forward, I'm talking about doing a juice cleanse. I was doing a juice cleanse, and I was being very funny and cute. The side of my face is twitching, so it was almost like there was just something that was starting there. I think it was. Yeah. And we all thought it was the juice cleanse there. All my friends were like, see, you shouldn't be doing those stupid things.
I know, I even said that, didn't I?
But my doctor said that's not what it was. I could have gotten gout from the acid, but not that. So.
I get heartburn from acid like that. I don't think I could sleep if I did that.
But, it's funny that you said that, because I do get... it's weird. I almost think that I've had this the whole entire time. I really think that there is something autoimmune that I have, which is I've been marked with it. years ago, and because I remember getting the headaches at certain times. I also remember having this pain in my chest right here. And I asked the doctor, when you look it up, it even says it online. I know you never should look anything up online, but
Yes, you got to be
unfortunately,
careful about that.
yeah, I should.
You're dying in no time. That's for sure.
I don't know why I keep doing it, but apparently it's exacerbated by a virus. So if you get the flu or a cold or something like that, it causes it.
Called COVID.
Yeah. So basically what kind of happened was we had COVID back in April, and I remember shortly after that having a problem, like having headaches that were so bad that not to this point, but months later, I guess it just all built up and came crashing down. So the doctor actually said, yes, we think COVID has exacerbated the problem. So it's possible, but they don't want to say that's what it is because COVID's an unknown thing entirely. And they said it is a blood vessel disease, if I'm correct in saying that. So
Does affect the blood vessels, yes.
yeah. So it's very possible if I had the infection already in there, that it exacerbated the problem and sped things up and made it much, much worse. So, so that's the case. That's kind of what. So I've felt over the time, to answer your question, I have felt a lot like that. And now I'm just picking up that as I've gotten older or got COVID, that it's just gotten so much worse as I've gotten there. And it's weird, though. I do want to say something because I said something about the 5 years. I think it's important to say this. I'm also in a GCA Facebook group. And it's real important for me to say that I actually went in there and I asked them. It's always important if you have a chronic illness to find your support system.
Right.
And that's been very helpful. 'Cause there's people out there that said that they've eaten a certain thing and it's made it worse. So I'll stay away from that, just in case. Like processed meats causing the infection to get inflamed and stuff. So I've been trying to
stay because that's really bad for inflammation. It does cause more inflammation in our bodies. So that makes sense. Mm-hmm.
Which is funny also because a week before that, we went on this hamburger kick.
Yeah.
We got a new convention, like a little toaster oven, and we started making these new hamburgers in the convention oven. And we loved them so much, it was like an everyday thing for a week. Okay, so I'm embarrassed to say that, but that's true. We were having hamburgers every single day. And then the week later, that's what I think it just piled up and got worse. So, yeah, that's about it.
That's one way we can find out what doesn't work for us.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm never going to suggest that. Don't do that. Don't ever try to, you know what? That is something though. Okay, this sounds terrible. I do not recommend that anybody go and break themselves to find the answer, but
no.
do that. They try to give you allergies to see if you have an allergy. They do try to find it by breaking you, and actually as a software designer, user experience specialist, we break things to find where the problem is, and that's just kind of what we do. So
our bodies though, they don't do so well when we break them, but
right. And you could actually harm yourself worse, which from the first time I went into the ER, they told me that I was inches away from a stroke. Mm-hmm. So they gave me some medication. That's when they put me on prednisone and all this kind of stuff. And then they put me on something called metrimoxil. If there's anybody from the Facebook group for GCA, let me know what that name is, because I actually didn't get it. Because I heard that medication can cause you to have stomach cancer or stomach ulcers or something like that. It's like it really could, taken over time, could really break down the stomach and lining your stomach, and it could really hurt you. And unfortunately, I was also diagnosed with gastroparesis. So that's
a collection of things, right?
yeah. Well, I was born with oh wow, I used to say it all, polystenosis, which is a lining next to your stomach. And when I was born, there was a knot, and I'm one of the first females to live from the disease. Apparently, I don't know. It's what my mom used to say. She probably just wanted me to feel special.
Well, you are.
I don't know about that.
Oh yeah.
So anyway, they said that because of the way that muscle works, it's dead in the muscle in my stomach. So now my stomach keeps food in there for longer periods of time than normal, which causes acid reflux and all this kind of stuff. I'm not as severe as some people I've seen. I've seen people die from that too. I'm nowhere near that. They have given me medicine for it, but it's not that severe. So, so gastroparesis is also what I have. So I have to be careful. So it's like a weird balance, right? So gastroparesis, you're not allowed to eat too much fiber. Because the more your stomach works, the worse off it is for you. So meat is a problem too.
And then when it comes to inflammation, decreasing inflammation requires things like fiber, vegetables,
like strawberries,
and eating issues going on in there.
Yeah, so it's like, what do you do, right? How do you fight that? How do you make a food plan that says, okay, so I need anti-inflammatory foods, but I got to stay away from high fiber foods because I'll get really sick there too. Yeah. So then you almost, and a lot of times you want to give up and you just want to go, I'm just going to have a cup of water and just, and just live like that.
And a vitamin
bag and just walk around with an IV bag. Hey, what's up, buddy? Hey, yes, me and my pal Liquid.
Yeah.
Like some dinner?
Let's do it. Fed through a G2. But, you've brought up some really good points that you have to be careful that you're educated well enough on the medications that any doctor prescribes, because you do have some choices, and that's what we often forget is we'll just take whatever they say to take and we'll do whatever they say to do. And they are humans too. They don't know everything. And honestly, they are doing the best they can. Our doctors are, to try to figure out a puzzle, everyone's puzzle. And they only can go by the different sources of information they pull together. So, when they might get it wrong, and I certainly had it wrong for at least 6 months before I was diagnosed properly. And I was given steroids intravenously for quite a while, and that's contraindicated for Lyme. So I was doing absolutely no, it just made me much, much worse. I could not walk at all. I couldn't do anything. I was in very bad shape. And after such a long period of time, I was able to stumble onto an infectious disease specialist that her name was Dr. Rebecca Shadowin. And she was my hero. She was able to diagnose me and immediately give me antibiotics, not steroids. So I was able to get, intravenous injections and things like that over time for that. And that did start to make me better. And now I have prolonged periods of time where I am pretty normal for the most part. So unfortunately, Dr. Rebecca Shadowin passed away due to COVID-19. And
oh no.
Yes, she was a wonderful infectious disease specialist, and I know everyone in this area misses her terribly. She was excellent for her patients. So, the sad thing is I had several doctors, looking at lots of different things, especially MS, and I thought I had MS for a long time. So my heart goes out to people with MS. I really understand that one. For the most part, and what I live with is similar to that in terms of all the relapses and episodes. But I just have a heart for people who undergo chronic illnesses, especially those that you don't see, and people may make judgments about what's going on with a person. So again, we all have to be careful not to make those judgments. But one of the things I just wanted to make sure we do before we close today is to make sure that we know some of the suggestions that are helpful. Number one, research your medications and make a choice with your doctor, and don't be afraid to try things that are healthful and natural, right? Is that what you would suggest people do?
Yes. Yeah, I that absolutely, be an advocate for yourself and make sure that you are researching all aspects. They say not to do it over the internet, but just research
What
everywhere.
else can we do? So,
Ask advice.
yeah, go to the library, I guess.
Yeah, I mean,
There are appropriate websites. Dr. Rebecca Shadowin did tell me that too. She said, be careful where you research because there's so many sites that are not trustworthy. And you do have to look for those that are trustworthy, like the CDC, and there are medical searches and search engines, things like that you can get real good, truthful advice.
and to see a specialist too. I highly recommend seeing a specialist. But there's also something I wanted to kind of share. I feel like it's really important for. I've been sick a lot over my lifetime, and I've been through the ER so many times. It's been
They know you.
unreal. Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
And there's two things I wanted to say. Over the many, many times I've been in the hospital, I've been told 10 times I'm dying. 10 times. 3 times by different types of diseases. That is over a period of since 2006, I would say. So it was after my daughter. So I'm still here, and I'm not, I'm just kind
A
of
miracle.
yeah, I'm just fed up with it. I honestly think that, no offense to doctors, because I know a bunch of wonderful ones. I really do. But a lot of times they just try to treat the symptoms and throw things out. And if you don't do the research and don't do the legwork, then you're just going to put yourself in a situation that you don't need to be in. I'm watching this group right now, and I'm seeing all these people losing their hair. They're losing teeth. They're losing, their face is breaking out. They're swelling with edema and all this kind of stuff. And I adore them. I love them to death. Adore their story, and I really empathize with them. And I've just kind of come to the point to where I realize that I can't put myself through that. And especially being through it with 8 years with my mom, I'm just not going to do that, So I decided that I'm going to take a natural route and try to find anti-inflammatories. But that was one thing. Mm-hmm. The second thing I want to say is when a friend comes to you and says, this is not you in any way, but I've had friends to do this to me a lot. And they say, look, rather or not you believe them, rather or not they're being a hypochondriac at the time, the fact is that a doctor who is a well-educated person has told them that they are very ill. And that puts you through this mental process of how do I deal with this, and how do I, when you're told you're going to die so many times like I have, that breaks you down every single time you hear it, right? So if someone comes to you and expresses worry or concern about their health, then what they need to do is they need to just say, I'm here and I'm here to listen. What can I do for you? It's also like an anxiety attack or like any kind of mental breakdown or anything. I may not want you around me or anything like that, but the point is don't degrade the person because they say they're sick. Oh, you know what? You just have a cold. Or you know what? You're going to be fine. Don't worry about it. Or you've been through this before, so you're the tough as nails. You've got this. And that's, when you're sick like that, that's not what you want to hear. It feels like encouragement to you, and I understand that, but that's not what you want to hear. I just need to say something, and it's going to make me cry. I just need to say, hey, man, I am hurting, I am scared, and I am in pain, and I don't know what to do. And I just need you here by me right now. That's all I need, and that's something I love about my husband, because when I told him what's going on, he saw the diagnosis, saw the medication. He's like, he didn't say, I'm here. He said, I'm here for you, and we're going to fight this together, and we're going to do what it takes together, whatever it is. If you need to exercise more, I'm going to walk with you. If you need, and if you need space, because you just can't handle it mentally, then I'll walk away. But you just have to communicate. And God, I love him so much for that, because I've lost a lot of friends who just kind of just said, you're going to be fine. It's almost, can you, being a psychologist,
I think that makes a person feel, that makes a person feel like they're not being heard and they're not being taken seriously.
Yeah, or like you're demeaning me in some kind of weird way, if that makes any sense at all. I feel like you're not listening and you don't care. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I know it seems like to people that you're doing the right thing by trying to encourage them to not think about it, but that's the exact opposite. It's the exact opposite. That's like
all that's on your mind when you're ill and you are facing something that's serious, right?
Yeah.
It's not something you can just toss aside. Let me get busy with something else and I'll forget about it. It comes back in your head all the time. And sometimes, and that's another thing, people don't know if they should speak to you about something or not, or bring it up or not. So what would you tell them to do if they're not sure how to approach you?
I'm perfectly fine if somebody wants to know what's going on, and they just want to ask a question. A lot of people, actually, I'm around a lot. Well, I used to be before all the stuff happened, but I used to I work at musicians and stuff like that with some pretty good people that know a lot of people, and I am very vocal with what I'm doing. I'll tell you why in a minute, but when somebody comes up to me and says, hey, I saw you were having a hard time, are you doing okay? That is the right thing to say to me. I know you don't want to get into a conversation. I know that. I know you don't want to get into a conversation in the middle of the restaurant or something like that. But you are caring enough. You're showing me that you care. You want to show me your care and say, I just want to know if you're doing okay, and is there anything I can do for you, because I love you and I'm here for you.
That's what we need to hear.
That's all I need to hear. And if we don't have to get into no long story, and I will turn around and I will know, especially if we're in the environment where I can't really talk to you, I will turn around and say, you know what? That means a lot to me, and I really appreciate that. I appreciate your support. That's what I need to hear, and thank you very, very much. I'm doing okay for now, and I will let you know if I need something. And you're awesome. Just thank you. But I actually lost a friend recently because of that exact reason. It was toxic. It was very toxic for me to be continually going through medical issues and them saying it's serious, and then all of a sudden, she would just say, oh, you're just fine. Don't worry about it. You're just fine. I almost started to think that after a while, she needed to convince herself that I was going to be fine. And I understand that. That's okay. If you're having a hard time and just can't hear that, you just can't deal with the sickness of your friend, that's okay. But don't get yourself involved. Just don't get yourself involved. If you have to walk away, just don't get yourself involved in it. That's all I got to say. And I will know. I have another wonderful friend that I love to death that just can't handle people being sick. She just can't handle, because it's so painful to her that somebody's going through something. and I respect her for it. I don't ever bring it up to her. I don't ever say anything about it. She knows I'm struggling, and she knows I will come to her if I need her. But she's just
not
that.
everyone is disabled, and that's
Yeah.
okay. You know.
Yeah.
Well, it just helps to know what people need. You know.
Sorry, I'm gonna cry actually because it's that's been the worst part is that and a doctor telling you that you're crazy because they can't. They see these symptoms. Like the last time I went to the ER, they turned around and okay, well, yes, you have lockjaw. Yes, you have a fever. Yes, you have swelling on the back of your head. But we think you're just having an anxiety attack. Have a nice day.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, since when does anxiety attacks cause lumps on the back of your head this big? You know, since when do you have lockjaw from anxiety? And then you hear the words, "Well, stress is a pretty powerful thing," and I'm like, yeah, I don't look, and I'm actually not stressed right now. I'm actually my life's really good. So, besides this BS that I'm going through.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I think I've talked way too much.
No, you're all right. So, do you have any final words for everyone? Any questions that anyone has thrown through there?
We have a couple of people online. Let's see. I have a friend that worked with me on the Rockabilly Festival in Memphis, and I was having stomach problems. Yeah, that was Yep, that was actually. Yeah, that was a part of gastroparesis. Actually, I had eaten something at the festival I shouldn't have been eating.
Yeah.
So I paid for it dearly, and I think I was saying I'm paying for this one. I shouldn't have done that. So, you know, but yeah. So, but I do want to say this, Aunt Sharon. Since I've started the anti-inflammatory eating, trying to stay away from processed meats and stuff, I want to say I'm not a complete vegetarian. I've just kind of tried to wean away from that stuff, you know. I have lost weight. I feel better, and the headaches are going away. Where I would have, yeah, that's amazing. It just took a couple weeks. The last time I was in the hospital was February 18th, I think. I want to say. And when I came back, I said, this is it. I'm done. I'm changing this. So I stopped everything processed. I went to, if I was going to have a hamburger, it was vegan. Anyway, so I think that has, I was having a headache every single day. I had to have an ice pack on my head or walk outside in the freezing cold at the time. And that was the only thing that would help me. But then I got, I'm sorry. So it's hard. So I started to eat healthier fruits, vegetables, trying to be easy and lighter, smaller meals so my stomach could take it. That's kind of what I started to do. And I'm telling you, the headaches have gone away. I've also taken a vitamin in the morning. I'm taking what's called a Golly, I believe, which is a apple vinegar vitamin. That's helped considerably. Yes, so this helped with my digestion because it's apple vinegar. And then I've also done stay away from processed meats, and where I was having headaches all through the night, couldn't sleep every single night, to now I probably have a real bad headache once a week. So yeah, I must be doing something right, you know? I must be doing something right. And it's weird because I'll have, when the bad days hit, it's really bad. When the good days hit, it's wonderful. I'm a whole new person. So
That's wonderful.
yeah, I'm
right. I was just going to say, eating right has been the trick for me because if I don't feel well and I can't sleep well, and I get more relapses that way. And if I live with the best stress-free environment that I can by doing the right things, and I've been eating a Mediterranean diet for quite a while, and it's really helped me feel better.
I wanted to ask
go back. I don't want to go back to anything else.
Yeah.
I feel so much better on this way of eating. So I'm kind of hooked on it.
Um, I was looking at that also because I'm trying to find a routine plan on food. Right now, I'm just trying to find my plan. You know what I mean? Find the right foods for me.
Mhm.
And if it's a wrong food, I pay for it. And I
Yeah.
paid for it almost like that night because
Yeah.
I did have a hot dog one time, and it was like 6 hours later. I was waking up in the middle of the night in tons of pain. It's really strange because it knows
Yeah.
it's like it knows. So it's just that's
Body
just
knows.
so I really think that I can fight this way. And I don't believe that GCA can kill you in 5 years. I just don't want to believe that. I seriously
I most certainly don't. I just found you, it seems. So we need to.
I know, right? I just I don't think it does. I think you know what I honestly think it is, Sharon. I think that's the steroids is what kills you because they're putting the day one. I was on 40 milligrams and this stomach cancer causing medication day one, and I was like, I looked at Jason, my husband, and I was like, dude, I don't think I want to do this. I mean, look at the loss of hair, lose your teeth, you could go blind, you can.
Right.
I mean,
Well, there are times when we have to take medication that they prescribe, or the consequences are pretty steep. But
yeah,
what you're doing is trying to find a natural way to relieve the inflammation. And if you ever have an episode where you really have to get control of that quickly, you might have to take a little bit of steroid. But I think you're very smart to try to avoid doing that long term because you know what it's going to do. You've seen your mother go through it, and
yeah.
it's so wise of you.
And I agree. I think that is something I really should say. Everybody, I am not a doctor like that, and
Me either.
I just, I really, you should listen to your doctor, and you should do or at least be your own advocate and decide whether or not you want to do it based on what your doctor's saying or not. And just being that experience of watching my mother slowly die for 8 years, I just couldn't do it. I needed to figure something else out. And
Well, I think you're
um,
into something.
well, if I'm stop hurting for one day, if I stop hurting, then something's got to be right. If I'm hurting every single day, I'm swelling up, like to the point where I can't see or hear, but there's ringing in my ears and the swelling and stuff.
Mhm.
If that all stops like that, that doesn't just go away without medication. You know, I've
Yeah.
got to be doing something right. And
Sure.
another thing I did too, I forgot to mention was, and I'm just going to plug my sister here in case she's listening. I hope you don't mind. I drink a lot of water now.
Good.
That's a big deal to me. I'm trying to get up to a gallon a day. I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon, but I drink several of these, and this is my sister made this for me, and she knows how much I love Beetlejuice.
Yeah,
It's
I know you do.
so it's filled with water, and it's one of those tumblers that when you put ice in it, it stays in there for like all day, all day. You can look at this. I got my Beetlejuice shirt on.
You do. That's awesome.
So, but yeah, so she made this for me, and she does make them for people. So I love this. I have it everywhere. I'm like, if I could carry a giant tumbler running, I would, but.
That would be funny.
So my goal is to lose 65 pounds. I forgot to mention, and then I'll stop. But
You're good.
um, my goal is to try to lose 65 pounds. But really, it's just to stop the pain and the health problems. I just want to feel better. I'm tired of feeling sick all the
Oh,
time.
be healthy.
So so what I did is I started a blog called Losing Forward, and Losing Forward is meant to be losing weight, losing all the bad, unhealthy stuff,
Yeah.
and then I'm putting it online so people can see what is working for me and what is not working for me. Not saying, hey, go do this, it'll fix you. But hey, if somebody can see me going through this situation and I fixed it, isn't that something you want to at least know, you know?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, and it's pretty therapeutic for you as well, isn't it?
Oh yeah, I'm a horrible writer. I I don't
I
even
do
know
the
what
writing, you do the talking, it will be okay.
too much talking. That's probably the problem. That's why I can't write. I talk too much.
No.
But and losing forward's actually become a lot of fun. I try to put some funny stuff in it and make it entertaining because that's kind of who I am. And my husband sneaks in there every once in a while. You'll see him like a Where's Waldo kind of thing, and it's kind of
Yeah.
cool. So I get excited when he comes in and jumps in and stuff like that. So he's in there, yeah. So that's losing forward, and I also appreciate your blog, Sharon, because I read all the time about how to better work around children, even through this COVID atmosphere. You know, I've been reading the articles about why are teenagers so sleepy. That last article you wrote, really, really good, because every time my daughter comes downstairs, she says, I'm sleepy. Did you just wake up? Yes, but I'm sleepy.
Yeah, that's what I hear all the time. You know, from my own when they grew up and from all the kids I work with or around, they walk around like zombies for a while.
Yeah,
And there's
it
a
was
reason
really
for that. They
fascinating.
probably haven't had enough sleep after all. Mhm.
Yeah. I'm trying to take her phone away, but that's, she's 16 and she's a teenager, so she's like, I moved out at 17, so
I
it's
see.
kind of hard to parent a grown up, kind of, so I'm letting her experience herself
Well,
and
I
experience
needed a parent
life.
at 16. I'll tell you that. I
Yeah.
did. I needed one. So I would, yeah,
Yeah.
be careful here.
Yeah, I'm glad you're
Yeah.
saying that. We have these sessions where I sit her down and I'm like, look, this is what I did. This is how I fixed it. I'm telling you, you need to do this. And I will drop the hammer if I have to. But I try not to do it too much because I need her to learn, but from her own experiences.
Yeah.
But anyway, I haven't really seen any other comments or anything. Um, but you know, how are you when you get a flare up? Do you know right away? Do you just your legs start hurting, or
They don't hurt, they go numb.
oh
I
they
can't
do?
feel them. And I'm very weak. I can't walk. It's usually one side. It's always the left side, unless it's very, very bad. It might go both sides, but that's the biggest problem in Bell's palsy. And I've had a lot of other symptoms too. My vision will go in and out on my left side. You have a lot of electrical type of pain all over my body, which is not very pleasant. But um, it fortunately hasn't lasted a great deal of time before I start to feel better. The worst experience I had was about a week and a half long, and that's the longest I've had in years. And that was when I went to the airport and found myself having to get in a wheelchair to get anywhere. So it was really
Right.
bad feeling. But
I can't even imagine. I can't even imagine.
yeah, my husband did a lot of things to help me out during that time. I wouldn't have made it without him. So I appreciated that.
So
But
did you
I learned a lot. I learned a lot from that trip because it was kind of funny. I was wearing a running shirt from a marathon
Yeah.
and I can't walk. So I'm in a wheelchair and I think it has never caused me to faint. I just feel in response to that, I just feel extremely weak. And I try to hydrate well and eat healthy. That does help. If I didn't, I probably would be fainting during those times. But, when that happened, it was embarrassing for me because I had to get on the plane first in a wheelchair, which is okay to get on a plane first. That's kind of cool, but you've got everybody looking at you like, what's wrong with her? And so, especially wearing a shirt where you went to a run. So
Right.
I thought, why did I bring that for? It's kind of embarrassing.
Well, I understand. Like, sometimes people don't understand how you can feel fine one day and the very next day be just out of it, and that seems very similar to because like that day I was fine. I could have ran a marathon too, or I could have done that, and I just felt weird. Like there was just some weird sensation, like something was wrong, almost like a chemical thing that went into my head that was just like something's not right, and you need to rest. And nothing was wrong.
Stress. For me, it is stress is a definite one. I found that if I was up all night long with my daughter when she had a huge appendicitis attack, and it was very fast moving. So we were in the ER and then the hospital, and I never slept. And exactly 2 weeks after that, I had a very bad episode. And it seems to follow that pattern of 2 weeks out, and then I have a bad episode. So, when I get a shot, like this, for some reason, the shingle shot does that. Any shot that has steroids in it will give me an episode for sure. But otherwise, I was in an accident once where I was rear-ended and I could not get out of the car. It was that fast. I could not move. I was, that was weird. So if the body is kind of a remarkable temple, I guess is the only way to say it. It's something that's delicate and it's to be respected. We have to make good choices the best we can and take care of ourselves. So Shannon, you really need to take care of you so that for selfish reasons I can have you around at least as long as I'm around. I'm probably going to go first, so I'm a little older than you.
Oh, no. You're gonna live forever.
I don't think anybody wants me to do that.
I've already put it in my head that this sounds terrible. I don't want people to hear this and think the other thing, but I'm listening to doctors, but I am no longer listening to doctors. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, I understand you. Yeah.
I'm not letting them run my life.
That little, voice in your head be negative for you.
Yeah. I'm just not gonna let it happen anymore, and that's the way it is, and that's also helping me with losing forward, because now even if I go to a doctor, I'm gonna say, look, this is what they said to me today, and I just can't believe it. They said this to me before. Do you know one time? I don't know if you've ever had this, but I had years ago. I want to say it was like maybe 8 years ago, and it was always at the worst time. I'd have these weird nervous like episodes of a twitch where my whole body would shake. And it was the scariest thing. I would be at the worst possible moment, like on stage, taking pictures or I was photographing. I went to lunch with some friends, and out of nowhere, I knew it was coming on. It was like my body flushed over, and I just started to shake. And I got up to go to the bathroom to hopefully it would go away, and it just wasn't going away. And something changed. I guess I started dieting. You know what? I put 2 and 2 together. I started dieting. I lost 100 pounds around that time, and I started losing a lot of weight. And I never got the shakes back again. I don't know what it was, but it was, it was scary. I have friends that remember that day. It was, but I would just kind of just go into convulsions like this, and it was weird. I can't imagine what people were thinking of me, because you were talking about how you go down the plane. Yeah. And I used to think, what if they think I'm having an episode or a meltdown or something? And it's like they called them silent seizures is what they called them. That's what the doctor called them.
Petite seizures or
yeah.
Okay.
Like you're aware and can kind of control yourself, but it's just so weird. I haven't had them ever again. I seem to be fine with that. So
Good. Thank goodness. We don't need you to have any more chronic illnesses. Okay.
well, I think that was a part of whatever it was I was going through. I honestly think I've had this a very long time, and I'm going to a autoimmune doctor now to kind of see what's going on. We're going to test for other markers. Apparently, in the past few years, they've found more things that can cause some of these problems. So, and apparently PMR is a part of what can cause those twitches, which I had no idea. I guess it makes sense to me because it's in the joints and stuff. But anyway, I know I must be boring.
No, you've done a wonderful job. I really appreciate all the knowledge you've shared with everyone, and I'm sure they are excited about it too. So, any last words before we close out?
I love you.
I love you too. You're a miracle in my life, so thank you.
You are a miracle in mine too, and ours, our family as well. We really think very highly of you and would do anything for you. You're a wonderful, wonderful lady, and exceptionally talented too. So I wish I could have just a little bit of that.
Come from the same tree, sort of.
Well, all right.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess that's it.
Okay, we'll close out and we'll speak again soon. Okay.
Okay.
Thank
all
you
right.
for listening, everyone.
Yes, thank you. Bye-bye.